love math, enjoy math, learn with Alice Math.
Hi guys, welcome to Alice Math class. Today we're going to talk about another transformation which is called reflection. Here we focus on the reflection in two coordinate axes. One is the x-axis and another one is the y-axis. And how to find the different equations of the reflections in each coordinate axis. For example, for y equals negative fx, we reflect y equals fx in the x-axis. So you see, the previous function is fx, so we keep x as the same, and then we change the sign of y. So here y equals fx, here y equals negative fx. If we reflect y equals fx in y-axis, and we will find the new equation of this graph is y equals f negative x. So now you see y is the same, but we change the sign of x. Okay, so let's look at the following question. Question 1. Consider the graph of y equals fx as below. On the separate axis, draw the graphs of y equals negative fx. So y equals negative fx compared with the previous function fx, so which means x is same. And then we change the sign of y, which means here we have a reflection in the x-axis. So reflection in the x-axis means for each vertex we need to keep the x-coordinates the same, just change the sign of the y-coordinate. For example, this point, and we have the x-coordinate 3, and we have the y-coordinate is 2. Now we need to find the y-coordinate is negative 2, is the opposite. So negative 2 is here, so now the vertex we need to transform to here, right? And then here you find it, probably this is a parabola, so we have the vertex here. The vertex with the coordinate 2 and -1. So keep the x-coordinate the same, and then we need to change the sign of the y. So -1 now should be +1. So this vertex now we need to transform to here. And here this vertex we have the x-coordinate 1 and the y-coordinate 2. So we change it to -2 as the y-coordinate. So the same. Now we move to the left side of the y-axis. So this point originally with the x-coordinate -1 and then y-coordinate 3. Now on the same vertical line, we need to find the point with the y-coordinate -3. So -3 is here. And then the last point with the x-coordinate -3 and the y-coordinate +3. So keep the same x-coordinate and just change the sign of the y-coordinate. Okay, now we can connect all of the new points together. Start from here to here. And connect. We need to keep the same shape as the previous graph. So here is the parabola. We need to draw the same parabola shape. Parabola shape, yeah. And then we have two x-intercept. X equals, here probably is 1.0114 and another one is between 2 and 3. So because these two points lie on the x-axis, which means the y-coordinate equals 0. So when we change the sign of the y-coordinate is still 0. So which means the two x-intercept we need to keep the same. So this is why when I draw the parabola, it should pass through the same x-intercept, right? Okay, so this is for the question A. And then now we move on to the question B. Y equals f negative x. So from this function, we find x we times minus 1 in front, which means we change the sign of x, but we keep the same y coordinate, you see? So here is reflected in y-axis. Okay, so the previous one is reflected in x-axis because x keeps the same. Okay, reflected in y-axis means change the sign of x and keep the y-coordinate the same. Now look at this graph, and the similar way we need to change the x-coordinate to the negative. So at this point we have the x-coordinate to negative 3. Now we need to transform to the positive 3. So positive 3 is here. Keep the same y-coordinate, so the same horizontal line. You see here? Okay, this point is to here. And then now we look at this point, and this point with the x-coordinate minus 1. So now we need to transform to the positive 1 and the same y-coordinate. So now move to here. Move to here. And then you see here, this point with the x-coordinate 1. So which means now we need to transform to the negative 1 and the same y-coordinate too. So we need to move here. We need to put here. We have the y-intercept on the y-axis, which means the x-coordinate equals 0. So x-coordinate equals 0, which means we didn't to change any sign of this point because 0, the negative 0 is still equal to 0. Okay, and then so now we move to here. So this is still the parabola. We find the vertex is here. The vertex now is 2 and minus 1. So we should change the sign of the x-coordinate. So positive 2 should move to the negative 2. So the vertex would be moved to here. Moved to here. And also we have two x-intercept. 2x-intercept, now we need to find the new x-intercept on the new graph, probably is here. And another one is between 2 and 3. So we change the sign. It would be negative 2 and negative 3. Here. Okay, the last point is with the x-coordinate 3 and the y-coordinate 2. So now we change the sign, it would be negative 3 and then the same y-coordinate, Okay, now it's time for us to connect each new point. Start from this point to this point, and now change to here. So we can connect the same shape is the 9th segment. And then you see this point, we should connect together here. Okay, and then the new vertex is here, so now we sketch the parabola with the new 2 x-intercept. Okay, done. So now you see here the blue graph actually with the equation y equals f negative x, which means you see it is reflected in the y-axis. And then the left side, you see here the green one is y equals negative fx, which means reflected in the x-axis, right? Yes, symmetric in the x-axis, symmetric in the y-axis, okay? All right, so this is for the first question. Let's move on to the second question. The second question, they didn't give us the graph of the previous function fx, and then say y equals fx is transformed to hx equals f negative x. So which means we change the sign of x, and then we keep the same coordinate of y. So now which means it's reflected in y-axis because we keep the y coordinate the same. All right, so the question is find the image point on hx and then the following point on fx. So according to the question, reflected in y-axis, which means keep the y the same. So here you find the point with the same y coordinate. So the first one, the y coordinate is -1, so we keep the same. And then we needed to change the sign of the x coordinate. Here is 2, which means it's the corresponding point is -2. The second one, 0, 3. So 0 change the sign is still 0, and then 3 the y coordinate to keep the same. The last question, -1 and 2. So -1 is the x coordinate. We needed to change the sign, which means the +1, and then the y coordinate is same. So it's 2. Okay, so this is question 2. Question 3. The function y equals fx is transformed to gx equals -fx. So from this function, you see the x is the same, and then we change the sign of the y. So which means we reflect it in x-axis. So we reflect fx in the x-axis. X is the same, y should change the sign. So the first point, 3, 0. So x should be keep the same, and then y is 0, so change the sign of the 0 is still 0. And then the second one, 2, -1. So we need to keep the same x coordinate to change the -1 to +1. And then the last point, -3, 2 is -3. And then 2, +2 should change the sign to -2. All right, so this is the whole procedure of these 3 questions, which is related to the reflection. So this tutorial will focus on the reflection in the 2 axes. So if you are interested in any other topics you want me to explain, and you can leave it in the comment section below. And keep on learning, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.